go. It's the Kopite podcast.
What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the Kopite podcast. I'm Mick and Matt, joined as usual by Matt Ramirez. How you doing, Matt?
I'm all right. Cold, but I'm good.
And Gibraltarians are taking over. We've got Tim Favre on as well. So you might as well just replace me with another Gibraltarian and you can call it Jib Trio or something. See what happens.
There you go.
Yeah, we're here to react to the breaking team news, which has just came out, which is Alisson in goal, Trent right back, Reece Williams centre half with Fabinho, Robertson left back, Hendo, Gini and Jones, and then Mane, Salah, Firmino. Initial reactions to that, Tim?
Interesting that he's gone with Reece Williams over Nat Phillips. I mean, it's good in a way that he's showing faith in the youth to step up to a big game like this. And I guess that he's gone for, he's played in the Champions League. He's obviously not shy of the big stage. But I mean, apart from that, the selection doesn't really surprise me. The midfield and the front three, I figured weren't going to change once you see Fabinho in the back line. Great to see Alexander-Arnold and Robertson starting again. It's always nice to see after a long spell. But yeah, no, it's a good selection, and obviously Nat Phillips on the bench as well. So it's nice to have some backup.
Yeah, thoughts on that? Thoughts on the team, Matt?
A bit surprised that Reece Williams is starting ahead of Nat Phillips. I thought Nat Phillips, I've always thought he looked more dominant in the air, especially in the games that we've seen. But Reece Williams is by no means a poor replacement. We've seen him play well in the Champions League. If he's starting, it's because Klopp's seen something in him. Klopp believes in him, so that's good. Regarding the midfield, I met Tim earlier today, and we suspected that would be the midfield three, unless Fabinho was able to be pushed up. But without Matip in the squad, Fabi has to be at the back. And the front three is just the normal front three. And look, a lot's going to be on Curtis Jones' shoulders today, because you suspect that Hendo and Gini are going to be doing a lot of the legwork, a lot of the running, keeping Kane and Son, trying to keep them at bay. But, this is his chance to really press on from his recent impressive performances. It's one thing to do it against semi-weaker opposition, but now he's got a chance to do it against title rivals. And if he does it today, then that's a big statement.
Definitely, and I think that his progression recently has just been fantastic. And I think that's why when you look at the bench, especially it's Kelleher, Keita, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Minamino, Origi, Phillips, and Neco Williams. The fact that Keita and Ox are both fit, and Curtis Jones is keeping those two out, I think that says a huge amount about how much Klopp trusts him. And I think the best thing about him is he's more available in terms of injuries. I know Keita and Ox have had a load of injuries recently. Curtis Jones, touch wood, looks a bit more robust than those two at the minute, and I think he's quickly making that third spot his own in midfield, isn't he? So that's great news to see him back in there again. And let's have a look at Spurs anyway. I'm having a look at theirs now. So their team is Lloris, Aurier, Alderweireld, Dyer, Davis, Højbjerg, Sissoko, Lo Celso, Bergwijn, Son, and Kane. Reactions to that, Matt?
I'm all right with that. A lot of their attacking play comes down the left with Reguilon, and the fact that Davis is playing. I don't know if Reguilon's injured or if Davis is just playing because he's going to give him more defensive cover or not. But I fancy he's on the bench.
Yeah.
Well, then I think that change has been made to give them a bit more defensive cover. But I still fancy Mo against him. I fancy Mane as well against Aurier. Aurier's got a mistake in him, and I can't help but feel like Aurier is going to bring Mane down for a pen. And the midfield as well. Højbjerg and Sissoko are very physical, but Lo Celso, he's got a lot of quality, but he's kind of easy to bully. So hopefully Hendo and Gini can target him and then limit the supply to Bergwijn, Son, and Kane, who, as we know, are lethal. But I fancy us against that back line at least.
Yeah, and I think I'm surprised, like you said, Reguilon, I thought he'd start. And then especially in Ndombele, who's been really good this season.
Yeah.
Well, recently anyway. I think maybe typical Mourinho going for the rigid Højbjerg and Sissoko, who he knows who will defend 100%. Obviously, Ndombele is more an all-rounder, isn't he? So I think he's probably saving him for maybe later on in the game if he needs a bit of creativity. Are you happy with not happy, but are you surprised by that Spurs lineup, Tim?
I just think it gives you a bit of an insight that Davies for Reguilon switch gives you a bit of an insight into what Mourinho is looking to do in this game. I think he's going to really, really put 5-6 guys behind the ball and really try and hit Liverpool on the counter. I think he knows that we've not got our full back line. He knows that we've made another switch tonight, obviously, and that there was high potential that Matip was going to miss the game. So I think he's looking to kind of like shore up at the back and really kind of take advantage on the counter attack. I mean the non-inclusion of Ndombele is surprising. I think he's been very good for them, especially recently. But I think he's looking with Lo Celso. I think he's looking for more of an outlet on the counter attack, a little bit more of a creative player. Because I think that he knows that Klopp is going to come in looking to do what Chelsea did and Crystal Palace did for most of the game, which is shut down Harry Kane and stop him receiving the ball kind of higher up the pitch to start off their transition into their counter attack. So it's an interesting one. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you just touched on there as well, Matip. When I've just been looking at the squad, I completely forgot. Obviously, I thought he might be on the bench, but he's not even in there, which is, I don't know if it's Klopp being maybe overly protective of him, because obviously he's our only fit senior CB when he's fit, which isn't often, unfortunately. Yeah. But he's going to be a big miss. But Reece, what an opportunity for Reece Williams to this Matt, isn't it? It's a huge opportunity, isn't it?
Yeah, he's played Champions League before, but I think this is his first Premier League appearance, if I'm not mistaken. And on top of that, to get it in a Premier League start as well against Harry Kane and Heung-min Son, he's got his work cut out for him. This isn't him getting a start against West Brom. No disrespect to West Brom, but this is Harry Kane and Heung-min Son. These guys are on track to break the record for most goals in a partnership for the Premier League season. I think they're one behind Shearer with a whole season left. These guys are going to be on it, and you can be certain that Harry Kane is going to be targeting Reece Williams, trying to do his little back into the player sort of thing. But hopefully the kid's got some wits about him. Fabi will definitely keep him honest, and you never know. Look, the kid's coming in with a point to prove, and that makes him. It could be dangerous for Tottenham.
Yeah, and I think it's we've touched on, obviously, in the past, Neco Williams having to come in and having to perform because we didn't have Trent, and being in the limelight and it not going so well for him, and him having to slowly progress and get slightly better and better and better by each game. And this is maybe this is the time for Reece Williams to come in and do something similar, because we know he's got the quality, we know he's good in the air, we know he's good with his feet, he's good all round it, but it's just giving him that opportunity. And I think he's only 19, isn't he? He's a baby. He could be exceptionally good for us, couldn't he, Tim?
I think so. I think we're going to get a good look at a good insight into what he could be today. I think that this is. I mean, he played against Atalanta, and I think he played against Ajax as well. But I don't think they have the attacking prowess of Harry Kane and Son for sure. I think he's got that that long-term ability. He's certainly he's a big kid. He's good in the air. He's very comfortable on the ball, which surprised me actually when he first broke into the side. It surprised me how comfortable he is playing the ball around, and maybe that's played a part in Klopp's selection today. Maybe he's feeling like we're going to be playing around the back and having a lot of possession, and maybe he's favoured Reece Williams over Nat Phillips for that reason.
Yeah, and I completely agree, because I think I was thinking of it from the perspective of Harry Kane being a physical striker. Phillips might be the best option, but I know what you're saying there in terms of we're expected to have more of the ball, being at Anfield, the fans are there. Williams might be the better option to keep us ticking over as a more of a ball playing centre half. So yeah, I understand what you mean there.
I only have one concern with Williams, to be honest, and it's not even Harry Kane, it's Son. I think he's been very solid in the Champions League, and I think the only thing that we've been able to sort of criticise him on is how quickly he goes to ground, which he's a young kid, he's going to do that. But if you go to ground quickly against Son and he skips past you, that's going to be an issue. So it's going to be interesting to see how he copes with that. If he can stop himself from doing what just comes naturally to him and sliding in. He has to be a bit more intelligent today, facing Son, and hopefully he's up to it. He's definitely going to be concentrated against Tottenham. He's not going to have a single. Hopefully he's not going to lapse. So it'll be interesting to see how he handles that.
Yeah, and I think what Tim said is completely right. Like, this is where you see the true credentials of someone. This is where you see, are they cut out for this Liverpool team long term? This is what makes a player. Like, and even if he plays okay today or he doesn't play bad, even if he doesn't play well, it's all about learning and development. Like we've seen with Neil Williams, like he's had a few bad performances and then he started to get slightly better. We can't jump on his back if Reece Williams makes a mistake or whatever. But I don't see it that type of attribute in him. Like, I don't think he's rash. I think he's quite cool and collected, isn't he? In terms of as a footballer, he doesn't panic too much, which is what you want back there. And I mean, obviously we've got Van Dijk and Gomez usually there, and they're like as cool as anything, and they can dominate anyone. So I think if he's going to be in that type of mould, he can be boss for us, can't he? Definitely. Let's have a look through the comments here anyway. So we've got Dan saying Reece has better potential than Phillips and a long-term future. Yeah, makes sense going with him, which makes sense. Does make sense. Another comment from Dan. He's also more mobile. It's a brilliant experience for him. Whatever happens tonight, I wonder if Mourinho was still saying our injuries are limited and normal. But before we go, boys, should we have some score predictions? Dave's put one in 2-1 to the Reds. Come to you, Tim, first. What are you thinking score prediction?
I'm actually going to agree with him. I had 2-1 in my head as well.
Cool.
I think we score early. We force them to come out and play. I think we get a second, and I think they might nick one late on and start to pile the pressure on as the game winds to an end.
I hope so. Matt?
I'm going to go 3-1 for us. I know what, I'm just going to put a wild shout out there, so if I get it right, I look like a G. I'm going to say Reece Williams scores.
I would love it. Actually, you don't usually say Bobby Firmino to score a hat-trick just in case he scores one. You're not saying that today, no?
No, he's going to get a double. It's going to be a Bobby double and Williams header.
I'll go for 3-1 as well. You know, I'm feeling confident. I feel like I don't feel with the fans and with the 2,000 fans in there, we'll be at it from minute one, won't we? I think I still fancy them to score, but what was going to say, Tim? Sorry.
I was just going to add in that I think part of tonight, the emotion of Gerard Houllier passing this week, and
exactly.
They're already putting the banners up around the stadium and on the Kop and all that kind of stuff. I think that plays a big role in it as well tonight. I think a lot of the guys will appreciate what he did for the club, and and a lot of the guys are of the age of where they started watching football seriously when he was the manager of Liverpool. Yeah. So I think today will be a little bit more special than usual, on top of the fact that it's a big game.
Yeah. Well, couldn't have said it better myself. R.I.P. Gerard Houllier. And so we'll be back after the game. So us three will be back, joined by Luke from Rivalry Aside TV. So let's hope it is 3-1. Otherwise, we might only see one of us on here, just in case it's the bad result. But we'll see you in a bit.